Hello. Uh, Today I guess this is a short video. It's more like an introduction to the video that I want to make, but that won't be till next week. And I guess the topic or the ideas of the video are, I guess, of not necessarily of culture, but more of how culture changes throughout the decades. So one's lifetime. As far as the average age is about 80 years, so there's going to be at least 8 different decades. So even though it's the same person, there are some changes that the person experiences based on culture, right? For good or bad, how does that influence affects us for good or bad? And the reason why this topic has captured my idea, at least for a decade, is because, well, I'm a parent. My youngest kid is going to be 11 next month. My oldest one is 15, so full-on teenager already. So these topics are, I guess, they have captured my attention more with more strength, I guess, than before I was a parent. Even when when I became a Christian, for some reason I don't know why those concepts didn't capture my my attention as much. But anyways, that's something that I want to talk about, and it might be like a refresher course for most people. Maybe some people haven't heard of these concepts. I pretty much doubt it. Since the age of the internet and of the bloggers and the YouTubers and Instagram and TikTokers, I guess, vloggers, I guess. I don't know. There's the term keeps on changing, so there you go, and it might be a little bit out of date. So specifics. So I'll begin with the classical broad. I guess there was a book. This author has written many books, but the one I'm thinking specifically is by Michael Mann, and he wrote about warfare, and that there are 4 different types of four sources of power. So economic, military, political, and the last one that I would have focused more on is the ideological, right? So the ideas. Most people wouldn't think that ideas are a type of warfare, but according to Michael Mann, and this, like I said, this book has been out for decades, so it's not a new book. But I wanted to, like I said, when it captured my attention and all that stuff, is more the ideological. From a Christian perspective, we, well, at least those that most of us know about, we do not battle against flesh or blood, right? About spiritual, right? Spiritual powers. And those kind of entities, Book of Daniel gives us whatever you want to call it, whether it's a metaphor or symbolism about the angel Gabriel being stuck because he was held back by the Prince of Persia, powers and principalities, right? So anyways, most people are aware, most Christians are aware about that, but some maybe newer Christians may have not, and others, like for me, back in the day, whatever I knew was whatever I heard in church, because I never really searched the scriptures for myself. So maybe it hasn't got around to it. So there you are. But yes, ideological warfare. This a weird concept to think that ideas is a form of warfare. But anyways, and then there's another book that's been out. Again, this is not a new book. It's been out for a few decades, probably. This book, specifically, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, is about relationships and more like for couples. And me and my wife, we have spoken about those 5 languages of love, but I think it's been a bit. It's been years. So just yesterday, we retook the test again, and mine kind of changed, because like I said, I've changed since the last decade. I'm the same person, but my ideas have changed. My wants, desires, my preferences have changed. In a way, I'm still the same person. So I was surprised that my preferences had changed somewhat. Interesting. But anyways, it was I think it was a fruitful endeavor, excuse me, for me and my wife to take the time and talk about it, and to even take the test and talk about the results after the fact, and realign our how we want to pursue this. I guess what? Let me find the right words. This journey many people call life, right? This walk that we're on, but between me and her, we do this as a couple, as a team, going on the, trying to, with the same goal in mind. Christ first as the head, right? We keep the eye on the prize, but again, we have a family. So it all begins of how do you troubleshoot the problems that come up, the frustrations. Emotions are powerful, right? So when I'm upset or when she's upset, how do we navigate through that, right? When we have to talk about disciplining the kids, or better yet, preventing, right? Preventing much better than discipline, I suppose. In healthcare, there's a huge push. A lot of people haven't. It hasn't been implemented, but it's more like prevention rather than treatment. Prevention is a lot easier and less. So it's more inexpensive and less side effects than via medical intervention like medications or surgery, right? That has the chances of the negative side effects to that are greater than just preventative medicine. So anyways, there's a big push for preventative medicine, and in relationships and parenting, I think, in my opinion, preventative approach is also ideal, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Anyways, give me your thoughts if you have some of the different ideas. Have you heard about the 5 languages of love? Have you taken the test? Have you not? Have you ran into Michael Mann's work as far as the 4 sources of power? So in a Christian walk, we don't fight each other, right? We're in the body together, so we're supposed to edify. We're supposed to have fellowship. We're supposed to have communion as a group, right? Do that in remembrance of Him. Do what and how, right? All that stuff, to edify, to have fellowship with one another, to mentor, right? How do we mentor each other? How do we help each other grow from a Christian perspective, while we're in the world that, for the most part, doesn't want anything to do with Christianity, doesn't want to hear anything about Christianity? So how do we navigate that? The other thing that has captured my idea is nice bird. I haven't seen this bird in a while, for this type of bird here in a little bit. Sorry for the little distraction. The other thing that has captured my idea is the big factor 5, or the 5 factor of personality. The Ocean acronym OCEAN, and they're supposed to represent a concept, an idea. I think everybody that follows Jordan Peterson, he has brought that to the forefront. So almost popular. So is it mainstream almost? Maybe not. I don't know. He's moved on to. He's now talking about different things. He's doing a biblical, where he's going to talk about, or he did the Genesis study or Genesis lecture, and now he's going to be doing the New Testament, I believe, the Gospels, something like that. So anyways, but the big factor of personality, again, that's how, in my opinion, how we can change for the better once we understand our weakness, or the things that gives us grief, the things that get in the way of relationships in the family structure, in the work structure, with our peers, with our family, all that kind of thing. So I, at least in my opinion, the more I know about this, the more I can kind of move in the right direction. I did make a few videos on some of these concepts of ideas, and like I said, I am planning on making another one. and more specifically, because I haven't done one on the 5 languages of love, or this 4 sources of power, but mainly and only talking about that ideological perspective, not the economic, not that it's not important, not the military, not that we don't need military, because Genghis Khan is real, and that's a big name out there. Most people know about him, but even little tribes back in the day, Aztec, Shoshone, Apache, like the Americas before, back in the day. Yeah, we know that warfare, clans. Yeah, that's again military. If you don't protect, other people will come take your stuff. It's nothing new. It's been part of human nature. But anyways, I don't want to derail. So, not mainly, and I'm really going to be talking about economics, military, or the political. Not that those are not important, but it's just not my forte. There's plenty of people out there spending a lot of time in those specific areas. Anyways, so let me see. The other stuff that I didn't drop a video on. The experiments in psychology that will never be repeated because some people thought they were a little unethical, some not so much, but anyway, it was the takeaway, one of the ones, so I'm going to bring it up again, so because it's a concept and I'm going to grow on the concept, maybe not on the experiment, but what does it mean. And conformity, the Ashline experiment, ASCH, the experiment of conformity, and how has that affected, because that came about psychology, because we know, well, at least some of us know, and I heard people in this little corner of the internet talking about the Madman, the show about advertisement, because we know that advertisement marketing changed once psychology grew and they found out, we can manipulate. They won't use those words, obviously, marketing, advertisement, they're never going to use the words manipulate, but they will get you to buy their products. If you need something, like if you're going to need shoes, why are you buying those specific shoes, right? Why that brand name? Why this? Why that? So anyways, marketing ideas, branding, it changed once they understood what psychology can do to the persuasion. We even call it manipulation. So anyways, that's a huge takeaway that I want to bring about, because it still affects us. It'll affect you more if you're not aware. So the I might be mispronouncing, Ashline experiment of conformity, and also the other ones, the shock experiments, the Stanford prison experiments. Why? Because that still affects us in a way. It's a takeaway. So how we're easily influenced by popular or authority figures. Since the invention of television and recording, right, these icons of TV icons, musical icons, they remember some people, especially the youth, they're very malleable, and the perspectives of the very famous people, they eat it up, right? So how can we easily be influenced by popular or authority figures? Back in the day, or we're talking about a decade ago, Kim Kardashian, I think, the influence that she has had on the youth now is very apparent. At first it was more like hypothetical, but I think we're past the hypothetical, I believe, right? Just to one of the latest enhancements for the self, promoting the self and all that, whatever you want to call it, however you want to spin that. The fact is, when you start seeing people when they inject their lips, and you can even tell that that's no longer normal. That phenomenon that started years and years and years, if not even a decade already, from Kim Kardashian, not that limited to her, but someone that, just by saying that name, you know what I'm talking about. There's a book by Brian Class, Class, and I'm going to say the famous saying that most people are aware: absolute power corrupts absolutely. Anyways, so these ideas, again, back to the spiritual warfare and ideological, and how ideas influence us, how concepts, people, in some way, shape, or form affects us. Especially, remember, I'm a parent. I do have kids. They're malleable. They're going to be influenced by whomever, whatever, you name it. I also want to be influenced, but for positive. So I'm working on how do I teach them. How do I present this information in a way that they're going to be able to, they're going to want to listen to it, that they're going to be receptive, right? That they're going to grow in a good way. I can only do so much. I understand there's limits to what I can teach. And I'm a nurse. Some of you know this already, but it's there's the nursing concept. I try to adapt all that stuff that I've learned in nursing school and in clinical practice, right? See one, do one, teach one, right? The whole concept of what scares you the most, the skill that scares you the most is the one that you should be doing more often, right? The classical, back from more than a decade, right? But because when you're in nursing school, you're not an expert in IVs and all the other skills, right? So you're like, no, you don't avoid them, you run towards them, be like, no, me, you pick me, right? After you do 100 IV starts, after you do 200 IV starts, that's no big deal, right? So anyways, that the whole concept of, if you want to learn about something, the best way to learn it is to try to teach it. And I am in the process of wanting to teach this information in a way that will be receptive to, again, I have teenage kids. Well, one's almost a teenager, but anyway, so that's why these type of videos that I see, or books or audiobooks or whatever you want to call it, they have captured my attention. I still read the scriptures. I don't want to neglect that. I'm limited on free time, but I want to make sure that I don't forget, that I keep my eye on the prize. But I do want to learn the let me find the right word, the practical, the application, right? What is it to be born again, and how does that play out? How do I mentor others? How do I let others mentor me? How do we have fellowship? How do I communicate effectively? Again, bringing back the 5 languages of love. If I know what's more effective, more loving, more specific, so that I'm understood instead of being misunderstood, why not? But things that are outside of me, I have to learn from somebody else, or from books, from radios, you name it. So that's why I'm in this venture. Venture is not the right word. Why I'm doing this. Why I'm currently doing this, I suppose. But anyways, this is supposed to be a short video, kind of like a prelude for my other video that's going to be maybe in about a week or so. So anyways, if you if I catch you in one of your streams, live streams, people of TLC, I will remember to say hi. Anyways, this is a fairly new channel. I think I barely have over 10 subscribers. That's to be expected with a new channel. Not that it's new, it's just that I haven't done much with it for years and years. I didn't see a need to do anything, but as of late, I've changed my mind. Especially, I owe that to TLC, and so it gives me the opportunity to give props to. Specifically, why I doing this is because of Christian Baxter. See, Baxter, they call him on TLC. I think his podcast is called Yours Truly Podcast on YouTube as well, and Pete from Strange Theology. So shout out to them, and also Luke Thompson and Grail Country. I know Grail Country there's multiple people there, so everybody in Grail Country. I'm thinking the two or three co-founders is Nate, Lance, and Sherry. Shout out. You're the reason, I guess, why I'm doing this, because normally I would just be consuming and not even replying, not even making comments, not even that kind of thing, engaging in live chat. I think we all kind of have similar experiences where we started going on YouTube for different reasons, but mainly we were captured by big names. Me, one of those big names that captured me for some time was Joe Rogan. From Joe Rogan came Jordan Peterson, John Vervaeke, Jonathan Pajot, that kind of thing. And from them, Paul Vanderklay, PVK, right? And then from then the TLC, right? Including Queen Chris and others. I just saw the oh man, I blanked on his name. He's doing the D.A.D.A. Defense Against the Dark Arts, D.A.D.A. His stream just dropped a little bit ago. Oh man, I should have wrote down his name. Oh, also the philosopher Dr. Nathan Jacobs. I think people on the TLC are familiar with his name or his work. He just started a new podcast. I think new. And when I mean new, is like I think there's only less than 10 videos, so fairly new. Not that he's new. He got his PhD, so he's not like a new graduate or anything like that. It's just new to the podcasting spectrum, I suppose, or new to the podcasting world, I guess. So shout outs to this little corner of the internet. All right, hopefully somebody gets to catch this. If you do happen to stumble onto this, again, if you would be so kindly to help me out. This is a very, very, very new channel, so give it a thumb up. Might help the algorithm. Share it if you dare, I suppose. Drop a comment. Anyways, if you think this is worthwhile, if not, I guess it will continue. It will collect us, and that'll be that. But God willing, He can do. God is God, and whatever happens will happen. Or maybe it's only meant for 1 or 2 people. I don't know. I'm doing my part, and that's it. That's all I can hope for. I do my part, and that'll be that. Some people, what do they call it? What's that saying? Some people plant, some people water, or something like that, right? Cultivating the landscape of our soul, and this growing to mentor, to have fellowship in this Christian walk. My perspective. All right, Alex Luna for the Solo Soul new channel. So anyways, I think I rambled on a little bit too long, so hopefully you catch this video. And again, I will be going into a little bit more in depth on those topics that I mentioned: 5 love languages, the personality, and I might even do the personality disorders and more like the factors. What does that mean? I think if we can contrast that, because someone may not even have a personality disorder, may only have a few traits, but I think it might be important just to know what those traits are, in case we might have 1 or 2. Anyways, but that's just in my opinion. Is there anything else? There's another thing. If you're interested, there was I caught one of those conversations between Luke Thompson's Grill Country streams with T-Grog, and they were talking about, he basically was mentioning this T-Grog, even though it was a decent, awesome conversation, respectful conversation between atheists and non-atheists. He mentioned about there's a big gap, and pretty much pushing the idea of Gnosticism. How come we ignore the Gnosticistic works? And we don't even have to go too far, right? First and second letter of John, not the gospel according to John, but the first and second letter of John, and Peter, even Jude. I think they all warned about the Gnostics. It was a real thing. They were warning about the Gnostics. Clear that the Gnostics are still at it. They're still here. They haven't gone anywhere. But I did mention something I want to clarify, because I think I got it wrong. In my perspective, so I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. The reason why we don't have, we have a somewhat of a gap in the, because T-Grog was mentioning Clement of Rome, and this is in Rome. Remember, the concept of Rome. Remember, Rome was the one that made it illegal to be a Christian, and the Roman Empire, the Roman Emperor, were persecuting Christians, and this is in history, right? You know what happened, torches and feeding them to the lions, and to, you name it. It was barbarous. It was not popular to be a Christian. So not It's not that they were lazy. It's not that there's some kind of conspiracy theory. It's that they were martyred, plain and simple. Oops, did somebody forget to mention it? I'm sorry. Didn't mean to disrespect, but that's an obvious. Okay, the reason why they didn't last long is because they were martyred, not because of some conspiracy. So, anyways, so here's the line of discipleship because he mentioned Clement of Rome. So let me go through that perspective, because remember, Clement of Rome was, and not to say this to divide, but the idea is Clement of Rome was considered a pope, right? And that's why I said, why do they always go to the Clement of Rome? Why do they ignore the bishops? Maybe that's why, because of they're talking about the lineage of the Pope in those perspectives. Not to divide. I'm not promoting. I'm not saying to or against. I'm just saying this is part of our early church fathers. This is some ideas there, so not to pick a side. So anyways, Jesus, disciples Peter, one of the 12 disciples, Peter, disciples Linus is considered a pope of Rome, right? And Linus disciples Cletus or Anacletus, considered a pope, and Cletus disciples Clement of Rome. So no unbroken chain of discipleship, but they didn't last all that long because every one of them was martyred, Jesus included. But we know why. He came back from the dead. He's the firstborn. He's still in his resurrected body, glorified body, like Lazarus. He came back, but he doesn't have a glorified body. That's what I mean by first fruits, right? The first of everlasting, powerful. He has all the power. Everything is. Read letter to the Colossians, if you're interested. If you want to give me some pushback, please read that before you throw some stones at me. Jesus, Peter, Linus, Anacletus, Clement of Rome. But he did do Averrestus. I might be mispronouncing these names. And then Alexander the First, Pope Sixtus. That's 126 AD. So remember, not 125 years. That's not that long. But again, and sorry for the car. Yeah, I'm outside again today. Not because some conspiracy, because they were all martyred. But anyways, if we talk about the bishops in the Greek area, so Jesus disciples John the Apostle, John disciples Polycarp, Bishop of Smyrna, Polycarp disciples Irenaeus of Lyons, Bishop of Lyons, right? And Irenaeus, Bishop of Lyons, makes it all the way to 200 AD. So that's unbroken chain of discipleship all the way to 200. But again, they survived a little longer because they were not in Rome, so they were able to escape persecution longer, but they were still martyred. So again, as if there's some conspiracy. No. There would have it would have been much easier to keep things going had it not been for the persecutions. They were martyred. So there you go. Where's the conspiracy? Well, if you're gonna doubt, I'm gonna quote Jesus. All right, do not be deceived. Right. If you're interested, look into. I blanked on the name. Give me a second. It's in the Old Testament. Give me 1 second. It talks about the two shepherds. The olive. Well, may have to pull it up. I blanked on the name. But anyways, also, like I said, if you are interested, also look up First and Second John. Peter, Judas Thaddeus. Might be mispronouncing the name. So, if you're interested, as far as beware of the Gnostics, right? Where is there you go. Zechariah. Yes, if you're interested, Book of Zechariah, all of it is a short. I think it only has 14 chapters, very short, but man, the information there is so. Anyways, not to be ignored, if you haven't read it in a while, if it's been more than a year, by all means, I highly recommend it. Not that you have to, but I recommend it. Anyways, it was supposed to be a short video, so there you are. Hopefully you see this video. Hopefully you catch up my other videos that I've seen. They're not too long, and I do plan on making another one maybe next week. So anyways, until then, it's starting to get noisy out here. Alex Luna. Oh, that's a little loud. All right. Say hi if I happen, or not. I'll try to remember to say hi if I see you in the live stream, one of your live streams. All right. Until next time.